Anaconda, 2025, is an American action-adventure comedy horror film that blends humor, jungle peril, and meta-storytelling in a way that pays homage to the original cult classic from 1997 while carving out its own identity as a seasonal holiday release. The movie was directed by Tom Gormican, who also co-wrote the screenplay with Kevin Etten, and it features a star-studded ensemble cast including Paul Rudd, Jack Black, Steve Zahn, Thandai Newton, Daniela Melchior, and Selton Mello, with Ice Cube appearing as himself in a cameo that connects the film back to the earlier installments in the franchise. Produced by Columbia Pictures in partnership with Fully Formed Entertainment and distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing, Anaconda was released in theaters on December 25, 2025, positioning itself as a major Christmas Day debut aimed at audiences looking for an adventurous and comedic cinematic experience. The film runs approximately 99 minutes and is primarily in English, presenting a unique blend of genres that includes action, comedy, adventure, and horror elements that keep the audience engaged from the opening moments through the final credits. The premise of Anaconda, 2025, is built on the concept of a group of childhood friends who are unsettled with where their adult lives have taken them, and who decide to chase a long-held dream that they've carried since youth. Central to this group are Doug McAllister, played by Jack Black, and Ronald Griffin Jr., portrayed by Paul Rudd, two best friends whose dynamic comedic chemistry anchors much of the film's tone. Doug is a wedding videographer whose enthusiasm and larger-than-life personality often push the project forward, while Griff is a background actor who brings both charm and uncertainty to their quest. Dissatisfied with routines that have left them feeling stuck and nostalgic for the shared joy of their younger years, the friends seize an opportunity when Griff reveals he has secured the rights to remake their all-time favorite movie, the 1997 original Anaconda, and convinces the group to fund a low-budget independent version of it. Equipped with a shaky crew, minimal funds, and boundless optimism, the friends travel deep into the Amazon rainforest in Brazil, intending to shoot their passion project with gusto and naivete. The lush, sprawling jungle setting becomes as much a character in the story as the protagonists themselves, offering breathtaking yet treacherous landscapes that foreshadow the unpredictable events to come. Shortly after arrival, the group's initial plans go humorously and disastrously awry when the snake they intended to use for their indie movie, a supposedly trained animal, dies unexpectedly. The loss of their prop snake forces them into a frantic search for a replacement, and this is when the narrative's tone begins to shift from lighthearted filmmaking chaos into genuine survival tension, as they and their new associates encounter a real and massive anaconda deep in the wilderness. As they struggle with the realities of their situation, from navigating dense jungle terrain to confronting their interpersonal conflicts and coping with the terrifying presence of a giant snake, the story unfolds with a mixture of humor and danger. One of the notable characters they meet along the way is Ana Almeida, played by Daniela Melchior, who enters the narrative claiming to be on her own mission pursuing illegal gold miners. Doug, always ready to add an interesting new element to the film they are making, incorporates Ana into their movie concept, a choice that creates friction with Griff, who feels the project already has enough complications. There is also a snake handler named Carlos Santiago Braga, portrayed by Selton Mello, whose expertise is supposed to support the group but who, like many others, comes into conflict with the unpredictable force that is the gigantic anaconda terrorizing the jungle. Alongside these various personalities is Claire Simons, a longtime friend of Doug and Griff who brings stability and emotional depth to the core group, and Kenny Trent, whose comedic ineptitude adds to the film's wild series of misadventures. Ice Cube's cameo as himself further blurs the line between fiction and reality, adding an Easter egg-like connection to the franchise's origins. The filmmakers intentionally crafted Anaconda, 2025, as a metafilm, one that both honors and playfully subverts the legacy of the 1997 Anaconda movie and its subsequent sequels. Rather than simply rehashing the original's plot of a documentary crew hunted by a monstrous snake, the narrative focuses on the ironic and chaotic journey of amateur filmmakers whose plans to remake the movie lead them into the very scenario they set out to fictionalize. This self-aware approach gives the film a comedic layer that distinguishes it from standard creature features, and its humor often derives from the characters' earnest ineptitude, desperate improvisations, and the absurdity of facing a peril that was supposed to be staged for entertainment but becomes frighteningly real. The creation of the 2025 Anaconda was itself an extended process. Initially announced by Columbia Pictures as a reboot in development as early as January 2020, the project evolved over time with Gormican eventually taking the helm as director and co-writer. Production involved casting Black and Rudd in the leading roles in August 2024, after which the film entered a period of principal photography in January 2025 in Queensland, Australia, alongside additional cast additions including Newton, Zahn, and Mello. Filming wrapped in late February 2025, and a mid-production cameo scene involving original Anaconda star Jennifer Lopez was filmed on November 17, 2025, adding a moment of nostalgic recognition for longtime franchise fans. The score for the film was composed by David Fleming, whose music underscores both the comedic and adventurous beats throughout the narrative. Sony Pictures positioned Anaconda, 2025, for a major holiday release, debuting it in the United States and most international markets on December 25, 2025, with some territories like the United Kingdom and Ireland receiving it a day later on December 26, 2025. Prior to the wide release, the film had its world premiere at the United Theater on Broadway in Los Angeles on December 13, 2025. The theatrical push was supported by strategic trailers, the first of which dropped in mid-September 2025, teasing the comedic tension of Rudd and Black's characters confronting a giant snake amidst jungle chaos, and revealing the meta-premise that their dream project becomes a real nightmare. These trailers emphasize the comedic interplay between the leads, the adventurous jungle setting, and the absurdity of amateur filmmakers caught in a survival scenario, building anticipation among audiences looking for a blend of humor and creature thrills. Upon release, Anaconda, 2025, attracted mixed reviews from critics but developed a notable audience response. Reviews showed a roughly even split among professional critics, reflecting a divide on the film's tonal execution and balance of comedy and action, while general audience scores tended to be more favorable, indicating that many viewers enjoyed the film's humor and energetic performances despite its uneven moments. The movie opened with a modest box office performance in its first weekend but ultimately grossed over $90 million worldwide, demonstrating that it found an audience during the competitive holiday period. Critics commented on the film's high-concept meta approach, the chemistry between Black and Rudd, and its playful nods to the original Anaconda while acknowledging that the mix of genres could feel inconsistent at times. Audience reactions varied. Some celebrated the film as a hilarious adventure ride with intentional silliness and self-aware jokes, while others felt that the creature aspects were underplayed compared to expectations of a traditional monster movie. In terms of legacy, Anaconda, 2025, stands as an example of how contemporary Hollywood attempts to revisit classic properties with fresh twists, embracing both nostalgia and reinvention. By centering the story on characters who themselves love the original Anaconda and want to recreate it, the film creates a layered cinematic experience that operates as both a celebration of genre films and a playful critique of passion projects gone awry. From Jack Black and Paul Rudd's engaging performances to the lush Amazonian backdrop and unpredictable interactions with an enormous snake, the movie delivers a unique mix of laughs, scares, and outright absurd moments designed to make audiences both chuckle and flinch in equal measure. Its release timing, holiday positioning, and meta-storyline also reflect broader trends in filmmaking where studios seek to appeal to varied audience tastes by combining elements of comedy, adventure, and nostalgia into crowd-pleasing packages. For viewers eager to experience Anaconda, 2025, at home, the film's theatrical run is followed by a digital release window where it becomes available for purchase or rental on major platforms shortly after exiting cinemas, with an expected streaming debut on services like Netflix typically around 4 months after its theatrical date, often in late April 2026, due to existing distribution agreements that determine post-season streaming windows. This pattern mirrors Sony's strategy for other recent releases, allowing the movie to reach a broader audience beyond its initial box office window while giving fans multiple ways to enjoy it on different devices once home viewing becomes possible. Overall, Anaconda, 2025, is a film that defies simple categorization, part homage, part comedy, part creature feature, and part adventure, built on the chemistry of its leads, the exotic danger of its jungle setting, and the self-aware spirit of its storytelling. Its journey from conceptual reboot to finished holiday release illustrates the evolving approach studios take toward legacy properties, transforming them into new experiences that evoke the past while offering contemporary humor and thrills for modern audiences. Whether it's the absurdity of a giant snake chasing clueless filmmakers or the heartfelt themes of rekindling old dreams, the movie invites viewers to laugh at its own wild premise while embracing its unpredictable narrative with open arms, a cinematic adventure that's as bold as it is bizarre. The midsection of Anaconda delves deeper into the escalating dangers of the Amazon jungle, combining suspenseful action with character development and ethical dilemmas. One of the film's most memorable sequences occurs when the crew first encounters the full force of the anaconda. Early hints of the creature, ripples in the river, disturbed foliage, and unsettling sounds, transition into a dramatic confrontation in which the snake attacks the boat. The scene is choreographed to maximize suspense and tension, relying on both visual and auditory cues. Director Luis Loza uses tight close-ups of the crew's terrified expressions intercut with the massive coils of the animatronic anaconda, creating a sense of imminent danger. The pacing is deliberately varied, alternating between sudden bursts of action and tense pauses, which heightens anxiety for the audience while allowing characters' responses to the threat to feel organic and emotionally engaging. During this confrontation, minor characters begin to reveal their personal strengths and weaknesses. Gary Dixon, often a source of humor, shows courage under pressure by helping to stabilize the boat and assist injured crew members. Denise Kailberg demonstrates resourcefulness by improvising solutions to the mechanical and environmental obstacles, emphasizing her importance to the group despite limited screen time. Dr. Stephen Cale, initially confident in his anthropological expertise, is forced to confront his own vulnerability in the face of physical danger. These moments deepen audience engagement, as each character's survival depends not only on the external threat of the anaconda but also on interpersonal cooperation, quick thinking, and the ability to adapt under pressure. As the journey continues, the film introduces psychological tension through Ciarone's manipulations. His obsession with capturing the anaconda grows more pronounced, revealing the darker aspects of human ambition. In several sequences, Ciarone deliberately endangers the crew to provoke situations where the snake can be studied, trapped, or killed, illustrating a recurring moral theme: the destructive consequences of prioritizing personal goals over collective safety. This psychological threat complements the physical menace of the anaconda, creating a dual-layered tension. The crew is simultaneously battling a giant predator and navigating the moral hazards posed by a manipulative, charismatic antagonist. Jon Voight's performance intensifies during these sequences, as subtle facial expressions, tone of voice, and calculated gestures convey both charm and menace. His presence ensures that the narrative remains grounded in human drama even amidst fantastical creature encounters. The film's technical achievements are particularly notable in its depiction of the anaconda. A combination of animatronics, puppetry, and practical effects was employed to create realistic interactions with actors and the environment. Large-scale animatronic models allowed the snake to constrict, lunge, and coil convincingly, while smaller mechanical sections provided fluid motion for swimming sequences. These techniques were complemented by careful camera angles, which enhanced the perception of scale, making the snake appear even more massive and threatening. Special effects were coordinated with the actors' performances, requiring precise timing and choreography to maintain believability. The production team also utilized water tanks, submerged platforms, and rigging systems to simulate river currents and snake attacks safely, allowing for realistic yet controlled depictions of peril. One of the most suspenseful sequences occurs when the crew attempts to navigate a narrow passage through the jungle river while the anaconda lurks beneath the surface. The combination of tight camera framing, rippling water effects, and strategically placed sound cues creates a sense of claustrophobia, emphasizing the crew's vulnerability. Musical cues by Randy Edelman enhance the tension, with rising motifs signaling imminent danger and sudden drops in sound punctuating moments of shock or surprise. The film excels at balancing these technical elements with narrative pacing, ensuring that action sequences do not overwhelm character development or thematic exploration. Character arcs continue to evolve during these perilous sequences. Terry Flores emerges as a decisive leader, making split-second judgments to protect the crew and adapt to unforeseen challenges. Danny Rich develops from a supportive cameraman into a resourceful problem solver, employing his technical knowledge and physical agility to navigate complex threats. Minor characters such as Denise and Gary demonstrate courage and ingenuity, even as their roles are often limited in dialogue, emphasizing the collective effort required to survive the jungle. Each character's growth is interwoven with the narrative tension, reinforcing the film's exploration of human resilience, adaptability, and cooperation in extreme conditions. Thematic elements are deeply embedded in the narrative structure. Beyond the immediate horror of the anaconda, the film examines the human relationship with nature and the ethical considerations of exploration and exploitation. Cirone's obsession with the snake represents an exploitative mindset, viewing nature as a resource to conquer and dominate. In contrast, the crew's survival strategies reflect respect, caution, and adaptability, emphasizing the importance of humility and cooperation in the face of uncontrollable forces. The jungle itself symbolizes the unknown, embodying both beauty and danger, and reinforcing the broader commentary on humanity's vulnerability when confronting environments beyond its control. The climax of the film integrates these narrative, thematic, and technical elements into a high-stakes confrontation. The crew, having suffered casualties and setbacks, devises a final plan to neutralize the anaconda and escape the river. The sequence is a showcase of practical effects, animatronics, and tight editing. As the snake attacks, the camera captures the scale and power of its coils, the struggle of the characters, and the tension of the environment. Terry and Danny employ strategy and ingenuity, demonstrating human adaptability in the face of a superior natural threat. Meanwhile, Cirone's obsession reaches its ultimate consequence, reinforcing the narrative's moral framework. Selfish ambition leads to downfall, while cooperation, courage, and ethical decision-making lead to survival. From a cultural and cinematic perspective, Anaconda has had a lasting impact. It reinforced the appeal of creature-based adventure films, blending horror, action, and exotic settings to create commercially successful entertainment. Its depiction of the Amazon as simultaneously awe-inspiring and threatening contributed to a fascination with remote natural environments, influencing subsequent films in the genre. The portrayal of Terry Flores as a competent, courageous female protagonist helped establish a template for action horror heroines, demonstrating intelligence, leadership, and moral clarity under extreme pressure. Similarly, Cirone's character became an archetype of the charismatic yet morally corrupt villain, influencing portrayals in later adventure and horror narratives. The film's commercial success led to a series of sequels and spin-offs, expanding the mythos of giant snakes and dangerous jungle environments. While none of the sequels matched the original's popularity, they explored variations on the central themes, including human versus nature, survival, greed, and the consequences of obsession. The franchise helped solidify the giant predator subgenre, inspiring both imitation and homage in films, television, and popular culture. Additionally, Anaconda became a source of parody and cultural reference, appearing in comedic sketches, internet memes, and discussions of over-the-top creature features, highlighting its enduring visibility and impact on popular imagination. Box office analysis and critical reception reveal a nuanced picture. While critics were mixed, praising some performances and action sequences but criticizing dialogue and plot elements, audiences responded enthusiastically. The film grossed over $136 million worldwide, more than triple its estimated $45 million budget, demonstrating the commercial viability of high-concept creature features. Its success can be attributed to a combination of factors: a star-studded cast, a thrilling premise, technical achievements in practical effects, and a narrative that combines suspense, moral conflict, and adventure. Internationally, the film performed well in multiple markets, appealing to viewers drawn to exotic locales, high-stakes survival, and the spectacle of a massive predator. Following the climax of survival and confrontation with the anaconda, the story dedicates significant time to exploring the aftermath of the characters' ordeal, emphasizing the psychological and emotional consequences of their journey. The trauma of nearly dying, facing an unpredictable predator, and confronting personal flaws creates a rich canvas for reflection. The script deliberately uses quiet sequences to allow for introspection, showing characters sitting by a river, drying off, cleaning wounds, or simply observing the forest around them. In these moments, dialogue shifts from humorous banter to deeper conversations about regret, personal dreams, and what it means to survive. The leads, in particular, discuss the ways in which their friendship has evolved, acknowledging past mistakes, affirming loyalty, and reconciling old conflicts. These reflective moments are interspersed with subtle humor, ensuring the tone remains accessible and emotionally resonant. The comedy throughout the movie is multi-layered, combining verbal wit, situational irony, and visual gags. Characters' attempts to recreate movie scenes while in genuine danger provide recurring opportunities for humor. For instance, a sequence where the group attempts to film a dramatic snake attack scene using props and cameras quickly goes awry when the real Anaconda appears, resulting in a mix of chaos and slapstick tension. These comedic moments serve several functions. They humanize the characters, provide relief from sustained suspense, and create meta-commentary on the nature of storytelling, filmmaking, and the blurring line between fiction and reality. The film's humor often hinges on timing, character contrast, and unexpected reactions, making it both intelligent and approachable. Production-wise, the filmmakers invested heavily in environmental authenticity. Location scouting emphasized areas that could evoke the true density and danger of the Amazon rainforest, while sets were supplemented with digital effects to enhance scale and action sequences. The Anaconda itself was created using a combination of animatronics and CGI, allowing for close-up interactions with actors and dynamic movement in water and foliage. Animatronic segments were particularly effective for tactile realism, the snake's skin texture, muscular movement, and physical impact on props and characters added believability to the encounters. CGI was then layered for agility, speed, and sequences that would have been impossible to film safely in real-world environments. The seamless integration of these techniques ensured that the creature was both imposing and convincingly real, maintaining suspense without breaking immersion. Sound design and score played equally important roles. Subtle environmental sounds, such as water lapping against rocks, the rustle of leaves, and distant animal calls, were amplified to heighten tension during suspense sequences. The Anaconda's presence was reinforced through audio cues, low-frequency vibrations, sudden splashes, and occasional hissing. Composer-driven cues punctuated key moments, with tense percussion building toward attacks and lighter melodic themes providing relief and emphasizing friendship or triumph. Silence was employed as a deliberate tool, creating anticipation and letting viewers' imaginations fill in unseen dangers. The result was an immersive audio landscape that complemented the visual and narrative intensity of the film. Thematically, the film explores the interplay between human ambition, risk, and respect for nature. The character's desire to recreate a movie mirrors humanity's tendency to impose narratives on the natural world, often underestimating its unpredictability. The Anaconda, an instinct-driven force of nature, challenges this hubris, demonstrating that survival requires humility, observation, and adaptation. Additionally, the jungle itself functions as a metaphorical crucible, testing courage, patience, and interpersonal dynamics. Obstacles such as treacherous river crossings, unstable terrain, and encounters with other wildlife reinforce this symbolism, illustrating how the environment shapes human behavior and decision-making. By framing the story in this way, the film elevates what could have been a simple creature feature into a meditation on resilience, friendship, and the human-nature relationship. The film's narrative structure carefully balances rising tension, comedic interludes, and character development. Early sequences establish the characters' personalities, motivations, and interpersonal dynamics, while mid-sequence challenges progressively increase stakes and test relationships. Climactic encounters with the Anaconda are choreographed to maximize both suspense and character agency, ensuring that each individual contributes meaningfully to survival strategies. Resolution sequences then allow for reflection, humor, and emotional closure. This structuring ensures that viewers remain engaged on multiple levels, invested in the story, amused by comedic beats, and emotionally connected to the character's growth. Dialogue style is a notable feature of the film, blending naturalistic speech with witty, often self-referential humor. Characters frequently comment on the absurdity of their situation, draw parallels to the movies they admire, and critique each other in a humorous but affectionate manner. These exchanges feel organic, avoiding forced jokes, and provide insight into personality dynamics. For example, the reckless leader might make an over-the-top suggestion for filming a dramatic scene, only to be immediately countered by the cautious member with a practical, sarcastic retort. This rhythm of dialogue reinforces character contrast, creates comedic tension, and reflects broader themes of responsibility, trust, and adaptation. Each snake encounter is carefully designed to escalate stakes while highlighting character evolution. Early attacks focus on fear and panic, showing the character's lack of preparedness. Mid-story confrontations require problem-solving, cooperation, and improvisation, illustrating learning and growth. By the final sequences, the group demonstrates strategic thinking, risk assessment, and emotional resilience, reflecting the cumulative lessons learned throughout the journey. The Anaconda's behavior is consistent yet unpredictable, a reflection of natural instincts rather than narrative convenience, adding realism to each encounter. Visual storytelling, sound cues, and actor reactions combine to deliver sequences that are both terrifying and narratively meaningful. Symbolism is woven throughout the film. The anaconda represents both literal and figurative challenges, an external predator and an embodiment of fear, ambition, and nature's uncontrollable power. The jungle reflects the unknown, a place where human plans often collide with unpredictability. Characters' attempts to create a film within the film serve as a commentary on creativity, hubris, and the blurred boundary between art and reality. Moments of humor, reflection, and camaraderie highlight human adaptability, emphasizing that intelligence, empathy, and collaboration are as vital for survival as physical skill. These layers give the movie depth beyond its surface-level adventure and suspense. Marketing and release strategies capitalized on nostalgia while highlighting contemporary elements. Trailers focused on the meta-concept, humor, star chemistry, and thrilling snake sequences, appealing both to fans of the original 1997 film and new audiences. Interviews emphasized production challenges, the actors' real camaraderie, and the combination of suspense and comedy. The release schedule targeted holiday periods to maximize family and adult audiences alike. Early reviews highlighted the innovative blending of genres, the actors' performances, and immersive production values, noting that while it leaned more toward humor than pure horror, it successfully entertained and engaged audiences. The movie also incorporates subtle lessons about leadership, trust, and adaptability. Each character is forced to confront personal weaknesses and learn how to support others under extreme conditions. The reckless leader's overconfidence is tempered by the need for collaboration. The cautious character's timidity transforms into decisive action when responsibility demands it. Secondary characters' hidden talents emerge at critical moments, emphasizing that survival depends on recognizing and utilizing individual strengths in concert with others. These lessons are embedded seamlessly in the narrative, avoiding didacticism while reinforcing meaningful character arcs. While the main characters drive the narrative, the secondary characters play crucial roles in both advancing the plot and enhancing the comedic and dramatic elements of the story. Anna, as previously noted, brings expertise, moral clarity, and environmental awareness to the group, but her interactions with minor characters and local communities add additional layers to the film. For instance, several brief but impactful scenes depict Anna negotiating with local villagers, helping them recognize the dangers posed by illegal mining, and highlighting the ecological stakes of the narrative. These interactions not only enrich the world building but also provide audiences with a sense of the Amazonian culture and environment, grounding the film's fantastical elements in a tangible reality. Santiago's relationships with local workers and his understanding of jungle wildlife further extend this authenticity, allowing the film to maintain a credible depiction of survival logistics, snake behavior, and the environmental consequences of human intervention. The comedic elements of Anaconda are interwoven seamlessly with both the primary adventure plot and the secondary narrative threads. The humor arises not only from the exaggerated antics of Doug, the hapless but lovable comic relief, but also from situational absurdities, character quirks, and meta-commentary on filmmaking itself. Many sequences parody the conventions of action and horror films. For instance, when Griff attempts to shoot an epic hero shot amid dangerous rapids, the chaos of collapsing rafts, flying equipment, and the Anaconda's menacing presence turns the scene into a self-aware comedic spectacle. Similarly, moments of physical comedy, such as the group inadvertently stumbling into mud pits, leaping from trees, or encountering unexpected wildlife, create humor while also illustrating the genuine hazards of jungle filmmaking. The film strikes a delicate balance between suspense and comedy, ensuring that moments of levity do not undercut tension but instead complement and enhance it. Marketing and promotional strategies for the 2025 Anaconda played a significant role in generating pre-release excitement. The first official trailer, released in September 2025, emphasized both the comedic tone and the high-stakes adventure elements, introducing audiences to the ensemble cast, the jungle environment, and the giant anaconda. Promotional materials highlighted the meta-narrative angle, showing a group of friends attempting to remake a beloved movie while facing a real-life giant snake, and leveraged nostalgia for the 1997 original through subtle references and a cameo by Ice Cube. Interviews with the cast and director, behind-the-scenes featurettes, and social media campaigns emphasized both the humor and the thrills, targeting a wide demographic that included fans of the original franchise, action-adventure enthusiasts, and general audiences seeking holiday entertainment. Marketing also underscored the film's combination of practical and digital effects, portraying the Anaconda as both terrifying and visually impressive, appealing to fans of creature features and family-friendly adventure films alike. The promotional campaign strategically timed its release to coincide with the holiday season. Premiering on December 13, 2025, in Los Angeles, the film capitalized on the festive period when families and moviegoers were more likely to attend theaters. The subsequent wide release on December 25 ensured maximum exposure, positioning the film as both a nostalgic throwback and a contemporary adventure comedy for modern audiences. Early buzz focused on the ensemble cast's chemistry, the film's meta-humor, and the thrilling portrayal of the jungle, generating anticipation for what was marketed as a fun, wild ride, blending comedy, suspense, and nostalgic homage. Audience reactions in the initial weeks of release were overwhelmingly positive, particularly regarding the film's humor and self-awareness. Many viewers appreciated the clever interplay between the characters' filmmaking ambitions and the real dangers they face, highlighting the meta-narrative as a refreshing departure from conventional action-adventure films. Critics frequently praised the chemistry among Paul Rudd, Jack Black, Steve Zahn, and Thandie Newton, noting that the interplay between their personalities amplified both the comedic and suspenseful aspects of the narrative. Anna and Santiago's characters were also lauded for providing realism and gravitas, with their skills, knowledge, and moral grounding balancing the friends' chaos-driven antics. The visual portrayal of the Anaconda, blending CGI and practical effects, received particular attention for its realism, fluidity, and integration into the jungle environment, enhancing the immersive quality of the viewing experience. Early box office performance reflected the film's successful blending of nostalgia, humor, and adventure. Within the first 2 weeks of release, Anaconda, 2025, grossed over $50 million domestically, with international markets contributing significantly to the overall revenue. Analysts noted that the film's broad appeal, ranging from fans of creature features to casual holiday moviegoers, played a crucial role in its financial success. The timing of the release, coupled with targeted marketing emphasizing both comedy and adventure, ensured that the film captured attention in a competitive holiday period. Audience demographics indicated strong engagement among adults aged 25 to 45, many of whom had nostalgic connections to the 1997 original, as well as younger viewers drawn to the film's humor and thrilling sequences. Social media buzz, positive word of mouth, and critical reviews collectively contributed to the sustained box office performance, signaling the film's potential as a revitalized franchise entry. The critical reception further highlighted the film's strengths and thematic resonance. Reviewers often emphasized the clever self-awareness of the narrative, noting that the film successfully parodied and paid homage to classic creature features while maintaining a coherent adventure story. Critics also praised the balance of suspense and comedy, with particular emphasis on Jack Black's and Paul Rudd's performances, the ensemble's chemistry, and the effective integration of the jungle environment as both setting and character. The film's meta-commentary on filmmaking, depicting the trials and absurdities of creating a movie under extreme conditions, was frequently cited as an innovative element that distinguished it from traditional adventure comedy films. While some critiques noted that certain sequences leaned heavily on slapstick, the majority agreed that these moments complemented rather than undermined the suspense and character development. From a thematic perspective, Anaconda, 2025, explores multiple layers of meaning. On the surface, it is an entertaining adventure comedy, filled with thrills, humor, and dramatic tension. Beneath the surface, however, it examines the complexities of human ambition, creativity, and ethical responsibility. Griff's obsessive desire to remake a beloved movie serves as a metaphor for artistic hubris, while the group's repeated confrontations with unpredictable dangers highlight the limits of human control over nature. Anna's environmental activism and the ethical implications of the illegal mining subplot underscore the film's subtle moral dimension, encouraging audiences to consider the impact of human actions on ecosystems and wildlife. Additionally, the film celebrates the value of teamwork, adaptability, and expertise, showing that survival and creative success often requires collaboration, humility, and respect for the natural world. These layered themes contribute to the film's resonance with a broad audience, providing depth that complements the comedic and action-oriented elements. The interplay between suspense, comedy, and character development is particularly notable in sequences where the friends attempt to continue filming despite ongoing threats. One memorable sequence involves the group attempting to stage a heroic escape scene across a muddy jungle clearing, only to have the Anaconda emerge mid-shot. Griff's insistence on capturing the perfect footage, combined with Doug's exaggerated panic and Kenny's desperate attempts to coordinate the group, creates a chaotic but highly entertaining scene. Claire's strategic interventions and Anna's practical guidance ensure that the group survives while also highlighting their evolving dynamics and growth under pressure. These moments exemplify the film's signature blend of meta-humor, suspense, and character-driven storytelling. The tension in Anaconda builds meticulously as the film moves into the heart of the Amazon. Early scenes establish both the physical and psychological stakes of the expedition. The opening sequences introduce the river journey in a calm and exploratory tone, with the documentary crew navigating winding waterways and dense vegetation. These initial shots emphasize the tranquility of the jungle, the shimmering reflections of sunlight on the water, and the rich biodiversity surrounding the crew. Birds and insects provide a natural soundtrack, while occasional glimpses of movement in the shadows suggest unseen threats. The crew's conversations about the Shirishama's tribe provide exposition about their mission, while also subtly foreshadowing the dangers of venturing into such an unknown environment. The serene beauty of the jungle is immediately contrasted by the foreboding presence of nature's unpredictability, reminding the audience that the Amazon is as dangerous as it is captivating. The narrative takes a dramatic turn with the introduction of Paul Sarwan. Initially presented as a wounded and helpless figure, he is taken aboard the crew's boat under the guise of needing assistance. His charisma, knowledge of the river, and apparent vulnerability quickly earn the trust of Terry and the team. However, subtle clues suggest that he is hiding his true intentions. His obsession with the giant anaconda is gradually revealed through casual remarks and stories about the snake's legendary size and predatory abilities. Saron's manipulative nature begins to emerge as he steers the crew toward deeper, more dangerous parts of the river, under the pretense of finding the Shirishama's tribe. These early interactions establish him as both a narrative driver and a psychological threat, adding complexity to the story beyond the physical danger posed by the anaconda. The first direct encounters with the snake are carefully staged to maximize suspense. Initially, only glimpses of movement in the water, distorted reflections, and the subtle ripples created by the creature hint at its presence. This restrained approach heightens tension, as the audience is forced to anticipate the threat rather than seeing it immediately. When the anaconda finally strikes, the attacks are sudden, violent, and visually striking. Scenes in which the snake coils around the boat, constricts its victims, or lunges from the water are designed to be both thrilling and terrifying. The filmmakers skillfully blend practical animatronics with live snake footage and CGI to create realistic, believable encounters. Each attack sequence is meticulously choreographed, ensuring that actors' reactions, camera angles, and sound effects combine to immerse the audience fully in the moment of danger. The film also emphasizes the unpredictability of nature through the river itself. Rapid currents, submerged logs, and sudden whirlpools add layers of danger independent of the snake. These environmental hazards serve a dual purpose: they heighten suspense and create opportunities for character development. For example, when the boat is damaged by the river, Terry must make quick decisions about navigation and crew safety, reinforcing her role as a leader under extreme pressure. Similarly, Danny Rich uses his practical skills and quick thinking to help stabilize the boat, demonstrating the necessity of resourcefulness and collaboration in survival scenarios. These moments reinforce the film's themes of human vulnerability and resilience when confronted by forces beyond control. Sarone's obsession with the Anaconda escalates the narrative toward moral and ethical confrontations. Unlike the rest of the crew, who are primarily motivated by exploration, documentation, or survival, Sarwan is driven by a desire to dominate and capture the snake at any cost. This obsession places the entire team in jeopardy, creating a tension that is both external and psychological. His manipulations, including withholding information, making unilateral decisions, and provoking risky encounters with the snake, force Terry and others to navigate complex ethical decisions. These interactions explore themes of human arrogance, greed, and the consequences of attempting to exploit nature for personal gain. Sarone's character serves as a foil to Terry, highlighting the contrast between ethical curiosity and obsessive control. The midsection of the film is marked by a series of escalating encounters with the Anaconda, each more intense than the last. One particularly memorable sequence involves the snake attacking the boat at night. The filmmakers use darkness, limited visibility, and suspenseful sound design to create a sense of imminent danger. Only parts of the snake are revealed at a time, its eyes glinting in moonlight, the water rippling as it moves, forcing both the characters and the audience to imagine the full scope of the threat. This technique is highly effective in sustaining suspense, as the unknown is often more frightening than the fully revealed monster. The sequence also provides opportunities for character interactions, as crew members must rely on one another to survive, confront fear, and make split-second decisions. As the narrative progresses, the film explores the psychological impact of prolonged exposure to life-threatening danger. Characters display a range of emotional responses, from fear and panic to strategic problem-solving and courage. Terry's leadership is tested repeatedly, requiring her to balance risk, crew morale, and survival instincts. Danny Rich's humor and pragmatism help maintain morale, but he too faces moments of fear and uncertainty, emphasizing the realism of the survival experience. Sarone's obsession grows increasingly erratic, highlighting how human fixation on control can lead to self-destruction. These psychological dimensions complement the physical threats of the Anaconda, providing a layered narrative that engages viewers on multiple levels. The climax of Anaconda is carefully structured to maximize tension and resolution. Terry and the surviving crew members devise a plan to neutralize the snake and confront Sarwan. This sequence combines strategic thinking, physical action, and high-stakes confrontation. Sarone's obsessive pursuit of the Anaconda leads to his ultimate downfall, illustrating the consequences of his hubris. The snake, despite being wounded and trapped, retains a lingering presence, leaving an unsettling sense of unresolved danger that reinforces the horror element. The climax underscores the film's central themes of survival, ethical responsibility, and the unpredictability of nature, providing a satisfying yet thought-provoking conclusion for the audience. From a thematic perspective, Anaconda explores the complex relationship between humanity and nature. The Anaconda itself symbolizes the raw, untamed forces of the natural world, while Sarwan represents human ambition and the desire to dominate. The crew's journey reflects the balance between curiosity, respect, and survival, emphasizing that nature cannot be controlled without consequences. These themes are woven throughout the film, not only in dialogue but also in visual storytelling, character arcs, and the progression of the plot. The filmmakers use suspense, action, and horror as vehicles for exploring these deeper philosophical questions, ensuring that the narrative resonates beyond its surface-level thrills. The critical reception of Anaconda highlights the film's strengths and perceived weaknesses. Critics often praise the suspenseful sequences, charismatic performances, and effective use of practical effects, noting that the Anaconda itself was both believable and terrifying. Jon Voight's portrayal of Sarwan was frequently singled out for its psychological complexity, adding depth to a genre that sometimes relies on one-dimensional villains. However, some reviews criticized elements of the plot as formulaic, pointing to predictable narrative beats or occasional over-the-top performances. Despite these critiques, the film's commercial success and enduring popularity suggest that it resonated strongly with audiences, particularly those seeking a thrilling adventure combined with horror and action. The box office performance of Anaconda underscores its appeal. With a worldwide gross of approximately $136 million, the film demonstrated that audiences were eager for high-stakes creature feature entertainment. Its success was aided by effective marketing, including trailers that highlighted the suspense, exotic locations, and the terrifying presence of the giant snake. The film's financial performance justified subsequent sequels, which expanded the universe of the story while exploring new settings, creatures, and survival scenarios. These sequels, while not always achieving the same critical acclaim as the original, contributed to the cultural footprint of the franchise and cemented Anaconda as a memorable 1990s cinematic experience. Anaconda, 2025, is an American action-adventure comedy horror film that occupies a unique space in contemporary cinema, blending the thrills of a jungle adventure with the humor of self-aware storytelling. The film draws inspiration from the 1997 cult classic, yet it distinguishes itself by adopting a meta-narrative, in which the characters are not only facing a giant predatory snake but are also attempting to recreate the original movie that captivated them in their youth. Directed by Tom Gormican, who also co-wrote the screenplay with Kevin Edden, the film features a vibrant ensemble cast including Paul Rudd, Jack Black, Thandai Newton, Daniela Melchior, Selton Mello, Steve Zahn, and Ice Cube, who makes a cameo appearance as himself. The casting choices were deliberate, emphasizing a balance between comedic timing, dramatic tension, and ensemble chemistry, which allows the narrative to oscillate between moments of humor and suspense in a way that feels organic. The production of the film was spearheaded by Columbia Pictures in collaboration with Fully Formed Entertainment, reflecting an effort to combine studio resources with creative flexibility, and it was distributed worldwide by Sony Pictures Releasing, allowing it to reach a broad international audience. The premise of Anaconda, 2025, is compelling in its duality, operating simultaneously as a straightforward adventure narrative and as a commentary on fandom, filmmaking, and the obsession with recreating beloved cultural artifacts. The story revolves around a group of childhood friends who feel unfulfilled with the paths their adult lives have taken. Doug McAllister, portrayed by Jack Black, is an effervescent wedding videographer whose uncontainable enthusiasm frequently both motivates and complicates the group's endeavors. His longtime friend and collaborator, Ronald Griffin Jr., played by Paul Rudd, is a background actor and dreamer, whose pragmatic approach often clashes with Doug's impulsive energy. Together, they represent a duality that drives much of the story, the tension between impulsive creativity and cautious pragmatism. The characters are deeply relatable because their motivations are rooted in nostalgia, a longing to recapture a formative experience, and the desire to achieve something meaningful outside the constraints of everyday adult life. Their journey begins when Griff reveals he has acquired what he believes to be the rights to remake their all-time favorite movie, the 1997 original Anaconda, and convinces Doug and their other friends to invest time, money, and energy into this ambitious project. This initial premise sets up a layered narrative, one that allows for both comedic mishaps and genuinely suspenseful encounters. As the group embarks on their journey, they travel to the Amazon rainforest in Brazil, a setting that serves not only as the physical backdrop for the action but also as a symbolic space representing both opportunity and danger. The jungle is depicted with meticulous attention to detail, capturing the dense foliage, unpredictable weather, and the inherent hazards that accompany such an untamed environment. The filmmakers took care to blend real locations with sophisticated visual effects, creating a realistic yet cinematic portrayal of the Amazon that is both visually stunning and narratively functional. The lush setting allows the narrative to introduce challenges that test the characters' resourcefulness and interpersonal dynamics. Early in their journey, the group encounters an immediate setback when the snake they intended to use for their independent film dies unexpectedly. This event forces the friends to confront the reality that their project may not proceed as planned, and it catalyzes the transition from comedic filmmaking mishaps to survival-focused tension as they encounter a real, gigantic anaconda in the depths of the jungle. The narrative tension is heightened by the introduction of secondary characters who complicate the story in unexpected ways. Ana Almeida, portrayed by Daniela Melchior, enters the plot claiming to be on a mission of her own, involving the pursuit of illegal gold miners. Her inclusion adds layers of ethical ambiguity and moral challenge to the film, as her objectives do not always align with those of Doug, Griff, or the other crew members. Carlos Santiago Braga, played by Selton Mello, is a skilled snake handler whose expertise initially seems essential for navigating the dangerous terrain and confronting the anaconda. However, the presence of the snake and the unpredictability of the jungle quickly undermine the utility of his skills, creating additional narrative tension and highlighting the limits of human control in the face of nature's enormity. Claire Simons, played by Thandai Newton, provides a stabilizing force within the ensemble, offering both emotional support and pragmatic guidance as the group faces escalating peril. Kenny Trent, portrayed by Steve Zahn, introduces an additional layer of comedic relief, often serving as the audience surrogate whose reactions mirror the bewilderment and absurdity of the unfolding events. Ice Cube's cameo as himself further blurs the line between fiction and reality, creating a playful nod to the original franchise and adding an element of meta-commentary that resonates with viewers familiar with the 1997 film. Anaconda, 2025, intentionally operates as a meta-film, not merely recreating the plot of the original but also commenting on the act of filmmaking itself, the enthusiasm of fandom, and the tension between artistic aspiration and practical limitation. The central conceit of the story, characters attempting to remake a beloved film only to encounter the dangers depicted in the original, creates a layered narrative structure that allows for both comedic and suspenseful moments to coexist. The humor arises organically from the characters' earnest ineptitude, desperate improvisations, and the absurdity of facing a real-life version of the peril they sought to fictionalize. This self-aware approach distinguishes Anaconda, 2025, from standard creature features, offering audiences a blend of meta-commentary, homage, and traditional adventure that keeps the narrative dynamic and engaging. The development of the 2025 Anaconda was marked by careful planning and strategic casting. Columbia Pictures initially announced the project as a reboot in early 2020, and over the subsequent years, the screenplay and production plans evolved to emphasize a blend of comedy, adventure, and suspense that would appeal to both fans of the original franchise and new audiences. Principal photography commenced in January 2025 in Queensland, Australia, chosen for its combination of controlled studio environments and access to lush outdoor locations that could convincingly represent the Amazon rainforest. Filming continued through late February 2025, during which time the ensemble cast developed on-screen chemistry that became one of the film's most lauded aspects. The production also included a carefully timed cameo from Jennifer Lopez, a nod to the original Anaconda, filmed in November 2025, which provided an additional layer of nostalgic appeal and strengthened the film's connection to the franchise's history. Sony Pictures strategically scheduled the film's release for December 25, 2025, capitalizing on the holiday season to attract families and audiences seeking high-energy adventure and comedy. The film's marketing campaign included trailers released in September 2025 that emphasized the interplay between humor and suspense, showcased the chemistry between the leads, and highlighted the jungle's exotic and dangerous environment. The trailers also teased the meta-narrative, revealing that the character's amateur filmmaking project would spiral into a life-threatening adventure, creating a tone of both excitement and amusement that effectively positioned the film for broad audience appeal. Pre-release screenings indicated strong audience engagement, with viewers responding positively to the film's humor, action sequences, and playful homage to the original Anaconda. Upon release, Anaconda, 2025, received a mix of critical reviews but achieved significant commercial success, grossing over $90 million worldwide. Critics often highlighted the film's meta-concept and the performances of Paul Rudd and Jack Black as strengths, while noting that the blending of genres could feel uneven at times. Audience reception was generally more favorable, with many viewers appreciating the combination of comedy, suspense, and adventure. The film's narrative, which blends homage with self-aware commentary, resonated with fans of the original series while also appealing to younger audiences unfamiliar with the 1997 Anaconda, demonstrating the effectiveness of its dual-layered storytelling approach. Thematically, Anaconda, 2025, explores nostalgia, friendship, ambition, and the interplay between human creativity and the uncontrollable forces of nature. By focusing on characters attempting to recreate a beloved movie, the film comments on the desires and motivations that drive creative pursuits, particularly the tension between aspiration and practicality. The jungle environment serves as a metaphor for both opportunity and danger, reinforcing the narrative's exploration of risk, uncertainty, and the unpredictability of life itself. Throughout the film, the characters' relationships evolve, testing loyalty, resilience, and the ability to work together under extreme pressure, creating a rich tapestry of interpersonal drama alongside the creature feature elements. As the journey continues deeper into the Amazon, the narrative of Anaconda steadily escalates in tension and danger. One of the most memorable sequences occurs when the crew first experiences a prolonged and direct confrontation with the snake. This scene is notable because it combines physical peril with psychological terror, demonstrating the filmmaker's mastery of suspenseful pacing. The attack begins subtly, ripples appear along the river, strange sounds echo through the dense foliage, and the water suddenly surges near the boat. These early cues employ classic suspense techniques. What is not seen is often more terrifying than what is shown, drawing the audience's imagination into the narrative and enhancing the sense of dread. When the Anaconda fully reveals itself, the sequence becomes a showcase of both technical achievement and narrative tension. The animatronic snake, crafted to move realistically across both water and land, lunges at the boat with enormous strength. Tight camera angles emphasize its massive size relative to the crew, and quick cuts between the snake's coils and the characters' faces heighten the sense of immediacy and danger. In this moment, each crew member is forced to react to both the environmental threat of the river and the physical threat of the predator. Terry Flores, demonstrating decisive leadership, instructs the others on how to maneuver the boat while maintaining a lookout for additional dangers, exemplifying her growth as a capable and resourceful protagonist. Minor characters play critical roles in this sequence. Gary Dixon, initially portrayed as comic relief, rises to the occasion by stabilizing equipment and aiding injured crew members. Denise Kailberg's improvisational problem-solving highlights her intelligence and practicality under extreme stress. Dr. Stephen Cale, whose intellectual confidence is tested by physical danger, confronts his vulnerability and learns to rely on others in ways that mirror the narrative's larger theme of collective survival. These interactions illustrate how each character's arc is closely tied to their capacity to respond to threats, emphasizing that survival in the jungle requires both physical skill and emotional resilience. Subsequent sequences introduce increasingly complex survival challenges. For example, a scene depicts the crew navigating treacherous river rapids while being stalked by the Anaconda beneath the surface. This sequence combines practical effects, water tanks, and rigging systems to simulate swift currents, while the animatronic snake lunges unpredictably. The scene is edited with alternating wide and close-up shots to maintain spatial awareness while simultaneously generating suspense. Musical cues by Randy Edelman intensify the emotional impact, rising in tempo and volume as danger approaches, then dropping sharply to create moments of shock and surprise. These technical elements work in harmony with the narrative, ensuring that tension is both felt and understood. The Anaconda's attacks are designed to reveal both its intelligence and the limitations of human perception. For instance, in a scene where the snake coils around the riverbank near the crew's boat, it manipulates environmental elements, the water, branches, and mud, to obscure its approach. This depiction emphasizes the creature's strategic behavior, transforming it from a mere animal into an almost mythical adversary. The filmmakers employ visual storytelling techniques such as shadow play, reflective surfaces, and partial glimpses to maintain suspense while conveying scale and threat. Each encounter challenges the crew to adapt, reinforcing the theme that survival requires both ingenuity and collaboration. Character dynamics deepen during these perilous encounters. Terry's leadership is continually tested as she balances fear, strategy, and empathy. Her decisions influence not only immediate survival but also the group's morale and ethical choices. Danny Rich demonstrates technical skill and resourcefulness, contributing to the crew's ability to set traps and evade the snake. Minor characters, though often casualties of the escalating dangers, serve as narrative touchstones that reflect the stakes of the jungle environment. Their vulnerabilities and actions reinforce the film's tension while illustrating broader human behaviors in life-threatening situations. Ciron's manipulation of these situations adds psychological complexity, emphasizing human treachery alongside the natural threat of the anaconda. A particularly intense sequence involves the snake attacking the boat at night. Darkness and limited visibility amplify suspense, forcing characters to rely on intuition, quick thinking, and trust in one another. Cinematic techniques such as low-angle shots, shadowy lighting, and restricted camera framing heighten tension, while practical effects simulate the snake's movement in the water and interaction with the boat. The scene demonstrates how Anaconda merges technical skill with narrative design to create visceral audience engagement. The music, sound effects, and editing synchronize to produce a fully immersive experience, drawing viewers into the peril alongside the characters. The film's climax integrates both human ingenuity and ethical resolution. The remaining crew devises a final strategy to neutralize the anaconda using the environment itself. They combine physical traps, distractions, and strategic positioning to exploit the snake's behavior. This resolution underscores the recurring theme that survival in the jungle requires intelligence, cooperation, and ethical consideration. Ser-1, consumed by his obsession, meets his narrative fate, reinforcing the moral framework. Ambition divorced from ethics leads to downfall, while collaboration and respect for natural forces enable survival. This dual resolution, both physical and moral, provides narrative closure while reinforcing the film's central themes. Technical and artistic achievements contribute significantly to the narrative's impact. The animatronic snake sequences required precise coordination between effects operators, actors, and camera crews. Underwater and water surface scenes utilized sophisticated rigs to simulate realistic movement, ensuring that the snake's interactions with the environment appeared organic. Cinematography emphasizes contrasts between light and shadow, isolation and exposure, and calm and chaos, creating a visual language that reinforces tension and thematic depth. Randy Edelman's score dynamically adapts to action sequences, employing tempo and instrumentation to mirror the characters' emotional states and heighten suspense. Editing choices control pacing, alternating between rapid cuts during attacks and slower, tension-building sequences, maintaining audience engagement while supporting character development. From a thematic perspective, the film explores complex ideas through the lens of adventure and horror. The anaconda represents nature's uncontrollable power, while Ser-1 embodies the human capacity for obsession, greed, and moral corruption. Terry and Danny's resourcefulness, empathy, and adaptability demonstrate the virtues required to survive in extreme environments. Minor characters illustrate a spectrum of human behaviors: courage, cowardice, sacrifice, ingenuity, and failure, emphasizing that survival depends not solely on physical strength but also on ethical choices and collaboration. The Amazon rainforest itself functions as a narrative character, both beautiful and threatening, symbolizing the tension between human ambition and the uncontrollable forces of nature. The film's international reception further underscores its cultural impact. While critics offered mixed reviews, audiences worldwide were captivated by the spectacle, suspense, and exotic setting. Box office returns of over $136 million on a $45 million budget highlight the film's broad appeal, demonstrating that adventure horror narratives centered on natural threats resonate with diverse audiences. The film's success led to sequels and spin-offs, each exploring variations on the central themes of giant predators, survival, and human ambition. Anaconda also influenced subsequent creature feature films, popularizing narratives in which humans confront oversized, intelligent animals in exotic or isolated environments. Anaconda's legacy extends beyond cinema. It has become a cultural touchstone for the giant predator subgenre, inspiring parodies, memes, and references in television and online media. The film is frequently cited in discussions of over-the-top creature features, yet it is also recognized for its innovative animatronics, suspenseful storytelling, and strong character dynamics. Terry Flores' portrayal set a standard for intelligent, courageous female leads in adventure horror films, influencing subsequent films where female protagonists play central roles in high-stakes survival scenarios. Similarly, Serwan remains an archetype of the charismatic yet morally corrupt villain, demonstrating the enduring power of a well-crafted antagonist. As the story of Anaconda, 2025, reaches its climax, the tension between human ambition and the unpredictable power of nature comes to its most intense and consequential point. After enduring the jungle's myriad perils, ranging from treacherous river crossings, collapsing rafts, sudden torrential storms, venomous wildlife, and near misses with the giant anaconda, the friends arrive at a remote, nearly impassable waterfall that marks the geographical heart of the Amazon expedition. This location becomes both the literal and symbolic site of the narrative's resolution, as it is here that the group must confront the creature head-on while reconciling their personal motivations, creative ambitions, and moral responsibilities. The final confrontation with the giant anaconda is staged as an extended sequence blending suspense, action, and meta-comedy. The friends attempt to lure the anaconda away from their camp using a combination of bait, misdirection, and improvised tools forms the foundation of the sequence. Griff, still partially obsessed with capturing footage, takes calculated risks to get the perfect shot, while Doug provides a counterbalance of chaos, inadvertently complicating and enhancing the tension in equal measure. Kenny, now fully embracing his role as a problem solver, coordinates logistics, ensuring that everyone avoids unnecessary danger, and Claire's calm, strategic mindset orchestrates the team's overall survival efforts. Ana and Santiago, drawing on their experience and knowledge, identify critical environmental cues, predicting the snake's movements and providing essential guidance. The sequence emphasizes the evolved character dynamics, each individual has grown and adapted, and their survival hinges on a combination of skill, collaboration, and ingenuity. The visual effects and cinematography of this climactic sequence exemplify the film's approach to blending realism with cinematic spectacle. The anaconda is depicted with fluid, lifelike movement achieved through a combination of CGI animation and large-scale practical animatronics. Its interactions with both the environment and the actors are carefully choreographed, creating believable tension while maintaining narrative clarity. Rapid cross-cutting between tight, claustrophobic shots and wide, sweeping vistas underscores the duality of the friends' vulnerability and the awe-inspiring scale of the jungle. Sound design intensifies the suspense, low-frequency vibrations, water splashes, rustling foliage, and the hissing growls of the anaconda create an immersive sensory experience, punctuated by the chaotic commentary and comedic reactions of the human characters. These combined elements ensure that the climax is both thrilling and humorously engaging, a signature of the film's tonal balance. Amidst the physical confrontation, the film reinforces its meta-narrative themes. Griff's struggle to balance filmmaking ambition with survival illustrates the broader lesson that human plans cannot dominate nature. Scenes depicting his insistence on filming amidst danger highlight the absurdity of overconfidence and perfectionism while providing comedic relief. The chaos generated by Doug's improvisations, Kenny's attempts to mediate, and Claire's strategic interventions emphasizes the unpredictability of both human and natural systems. Anna's ethical perspective and Santiago's expertise further frame the climax in terms of survival, responsibility, and respect for the environment. In this way, the final encounter functions on multiple narrative levels. It is a literal life-or-death struggle, a commentary on human ambition, and a comedic spectacle all at once. The resolution of the anaconda confrontation is both satisfying and thematically consistent. The friends manage to neutralize the immediate threat of the giant snake through coordinated action, combining improvisation, knowledge of the environment, and sheer determination. Rather than depicting the anaconda as mindlessly defeated, the film maintains the creature's dignity and menace, ensuring it remains a powerful symbol of nature's dominance and unpredictability. The friends' survival underscores their personal growth. They have learned to value collaboration, expertise, humility, and strategic thinking over reckless ambition. Griff, in particular, emerges as a more grounded, empathetic figure, having reconciled his desire for artistic achievement with the responsibilities inherent in real-world action. Doug's development emphasizes courage beneath humor, Kenny demonstrates initiative and practical intelligence, and Claire embodies moral and strategic balance. Anna and Santiago, though supporting characters, leave a lasting impact, illustrating the importance of knowledge, experience, and ethical engagement with the natural world. Following the climax, the film transitions into a reflective epilogue that addresses both narrative closure and character resolution. The friends return to civilization, physically exhausted but emotionally transformed. Their attempted film project, while incomplete in the original vision, becomes a testament to their journey. The footage they capture, combined with their shared experiences, forms a story that blends humor, adventure, and personal growth. Griff's perspective on creativity evolves. He recognizes that storytelling is not solely about perfection or control but about shared experience and adaptability. Doug, having survived and contributed in crucial ways, gains confidence and a renewed sense of purpose. Kenny and Claire's relationship strengthen, reflecting the deeper bonds forged through adversity. Anna returns to her environmental work with renewed resolve, highlighting the film's subtle advocacy for ecological awareness, and Santiago continues his role as a guide and mentor, his knowledge and insight leaving a lasting imprint on the group. Thematically, the film concludes by reaffirming several key messages. First, human ambition, creativity, and desire for control must be tempered with humility and respect for forces beyond our command. The anaconda, as both literal and symbolic threat, represents nature's unpredictable power, reminding the audience that the natural world operates on its own terms. Second, collaboration, expertise, and adaptability are essential for overcoming complex challenges. The friends' growth is inseparable from their ability to listen, cooperate, and learn from those with experience and knowledge. Third, humor and levity coexist with danger and seriousness, demonstrating that human resilience often manifests through laughter and creativity, even in the face of existential threats. Finally, ethical responsibility toward the environment and other living beings emerges as a subtle but persistent theme, underscoring the film's engagement with contemporary ecological concerns. From a cinematic perspective, Anaconda, 2025, represents a synthesis of multiple genre conventions. It blends action-adventure, comedy, horror, and meta-narrative into a cohesive and engaging viewing experience. The pacing maintains tension while allowing for character-driven humor and reflection. The jungle environment is depicted with immersive realism, the giant anaconda is visually and conceptually compelling, and the ensemble cast delivers performances that balance comedic timing with emotional authenticity. The film's attention to detail in sound design, lighting, camera work, and visual effects demonstrates a commitment to both spectacle and storytelling, ensuring that each sequence contributes meaningfully to narrative progression and thematic resonance. In the context of the broader Anaconda franchise, this 2025 installment serves as both homage and reinvention. While retaining connections to the original 1997 film through references, cameos, and thematic echoes, it distinguishes itself through self-aware humor, meta-commentary on filmmaking, and a focus on contemporary ethical and environmental concerns. This approach broadens the appeal of the franchise, attracting both nostalgic viewers familiar with previous entries and new audiences drawn to adventure comedy films with innovative narrative structure. By embracing both homage and innovation, the film positions itself as a revitalized, self-contained entry that expands the franchise's tonal and thematic range. Marketing and audience engagement continue to play an important role in the film's legacy. The combination of star-driven appeal, humor, suspense, and thematic resonance ensured strong box office performance, with early revenues exceeding $90 million worldwide. Critical response highlighted the ensemble cast's chemistry, the film's balance of suspense and comedy, the effective integration of the giant anaconda into the narrative, and the innovative meta-narrative approach. Audience reactions on social media, fan forums, and review platforms were largely positive, emphasizing the film's entertainment value, clever humor, and thrilling sequences. The nostalgic nods to the original franchise, including Ice Cube's cameo, further cemented audience goodwill and engagement. The movie opens with an establishing sequence in a bustling urban setting, emphasizing the mundane and routine lives of the main characters. The reckless leader is shown struggling with repetitive work, a lackluster career, and the nagging feeling of unrealized potential. The cautious character is depicted handling professional responsibilities with competence yet secretly yearning for adventure, reflecting an internal conflict between comfort and risk. Supporting characters add layers of humor and personality. One is quirky and resourceful, prone to eccentric ideas, while another provides grounded practicality, often mediating conflicts. Dialogue in this section blends humor with exposition, revealing motivations and relationships while setting the stage for the coming journey. Comedic beats arise naturally from character quirks, such as the reckless leader's over-the-top attempts at inspiration or the supporting character's sarcastic commentary on his enthusiasm. These early sequences establish tone, humor, and interpersonal dynamics, ensuring that audiences are invested in the characters before the high-stakes jungle adventure begins. The group's decision to recreate their favorite movie is portrayed with a mix of excitement and naivety. Planning sequences, set in cluttered living rooms and makeshift workspaces, are filled with props, storyboards, and improvised costumes, highlighting both their enthusiasm and lack of preparedness. Humor emerges as characters misinterpret plans or clash over creative vision. For example, one character insists on filming an elaborate action scene on a rooftop, only to be reminded by the cautious member of the impracticality and danger, creating a comedic tension that also reinforces character traits. Production design in these sequences emphasizes clutter, disorganization, and the juxtaposition of ambition against limited resources, subtly foreshadowing the challenges to come. As the group departs for the Amazon, the film shifts visually and tonally. Sweeping aerial shots of the rainforest establish scale and beauty, emphasizing isolation and the unpredictability of nature. Close-ups of muddy boots, dripping foliage, and insect bites immerse the audience in the physicality of the journey. Dialogue balances awe and apprehension. Characters comment on the jungle's majesty while also expressing doubt and humor, highlighting human reactions to environments far beyond their comfort zone. Cinematography emphasizes both grandeur and danger, with shifting focus between lush vistas and hidden threats lurking in shadows, reinforcing the jungle as an active participant in the narrative. Early jungle sequences introduce logistical challenges, river crossings, slippery banks, unstable bridges, and dense undergrowth. Each obstacle serves as a vehicle for both suspense and comedy. For instance, a sequence involving a makeshift raft over a turbulent river results in frantic attempts to stay afloat, exaggerated splashing, and improvised teamwork, eliciting laughter while maintaining tension. Dialogue captures characters' fear, sarcasm, and resourcefulness. Production carefully choreographs these moments using practical sets, safety rigs, and controlled water effects, while CGI enhances splashes and creates the sense of the river's unpredictable force. These sequences demonstrate the filmmaker's commitment to realism while maintaining entertainment value. The first glimpse of the anaconda occurs subtly, building suspense before any direct attack. The filmmakers use shadows, ripples in water, and disturbed foliage to suggest the creature's presence. Characters react cautiously, interpreting ambiguous environmental cues as potential threats, which mirrors the audience's anticipation. The tension is amplified by sound design, low-frequency vibrations, subtle hissing, and the ambient jungle soundscape create an immersive auditory experience. This careful construction of suspense ensures that when the anaconda fully appears, its impact is heightened, making the subsequent attack both thrilling and believable. During the first major encounter, the group experiences chaos and panic. The anaconda strikes the makeshift raft, causing characters to struggle against the river's current. Close-ups capture expressions of fear, shock, and determination, while wide shots display the scope of environmental hazards. Comedy arises from characters' clumsy attempts to coordinate, slipping and grappling for safety, providing levity without diminishing the threat. Animatronics and CGI combine to depict the snake's massive size, muscular movement, and predatory behavior convincingly. Stunt coordination ensures that falls, grabs, and evasive maneuvers appear authentic, reinforcing tension and immersion. In the aftermath of the first attack, character dynamics shift. The reckless leader begins to acknowledge the consequences of impulsive behavior, while the cautious member demonstrates increased confidence in strategic thinking. Supporting characters reveal unexpected strengths, technical problem-solving, quick improvisation, and emotional insight. These developments underscore the film's thematic focus on growth through adversity and the importance of trust, teamwork, and self-awareness. Dialogue during these sequences balances tension with humor, highlighting both fear and human resilience. Subsequent sequences escalate in complexity and danger. A nighttime river crossing requires the group to navigate by memory and intuition, avoiding hidden obstacles while evading the Anaconda. Cinematography alternates between claustrophobic close-ups and expansive shots of the river, emphasizing both vulnerability and scale. Sound design accentuates tension, flowing water, snapping branches, and the snake's subtle movements heighten suspense. Humor emerges as characters improvise navigation strategies, often in exaggerated or absurd ways, maintaining the film's tonal balance between thrill and comedy. Midway through the film, a sequence involving a collapsed section of riverbank forces the group to find an alternate route through dense jungle. This segment emphasizes environmental hazards, unstable ground, tangled vines, and hidden predators. Characters' problem-solving abilities are tested, showcasing individual growth. The reckless leader learns to coordinate with the group rather than act independently, while the cautious member demonstrates strategic foresight. Dialogue highlights humor, frustration, and mutual support, reinforcing themes of cooperation and friendship. Production design emphasizes realism, with practical sets enhanced by digital effects to create an immersive, perilous environment. As encounters with the Anaconda increase, the creature's behavior is portrayed as instinctive yet formidable. The filmmakers avoid anthropomorphizing the snake, instead emphasizing its natural predatory skills. Each attack sequence escalates in danger and complexity, incorporating environmental elements such as river rapids, cliffs, and dense foliage. Character reactions reflect growth. Initial panic gives way to calculated defense and strategic counteractions. The combination of practical effects, CGI, stunt work, and immersive sound design ensures the Anaconda remains terrifying and believable throughout, maintaining suspense and engagement. Doug McAllister, played by Jack Black, is arguably the most vivid and animated character in Anaconda, 2025, serving as the emotional and comedic heart of the film. From a young age, Doug was fascinated by stories of adventure and heroism, often immersing himself in films, comic books, and stories of explorers navigating dangerous terrains. His childhood friendship with Griff was cemented by countless hours spent watching creature features together, creating elaborate homemade stories and film projects inspired by their favorite movies. As an adult, Doug channels that boundless creativity into wedding videography, a career that allows him to blend his love of storytelling with technical filmmaking skills, though it leaves him yearning for something more substantial. His personality is characterized by an uncontainable enthusiasm, a tendency to act before thinking, and a belief that creativity can overcome any obstacle. These traits are both his greatest strengths and his greatest challenges, as they drive the film's momentum forward but also create conflict within the group. Doug's journey throughout the film is as much internal as it is external. He learns to balance his impulsivity with responsibility, understanding that leadership and friendship require patience and collaboration, especially when life-and-death situations arise. Ronald Griffin Jr., portrayed by Paul Rudd, offers a complementary counterpoint to Doug. Griff's background as a struggling actor and former theater student gives him both a nuanced understanding of narrative and a cautious approach to risk. Unlike Doug, Griff is more grounded, often analyzing situations before taking action and questioning the feasibility of the group's ambitious plans. However, Griff also shares Doug's passion for creativity, and this shared enthusiasm forms the foundation of their friendship. Griff's personal arc involves confronting self-doubt and the fear that he has wasted his talents, a theme that resonates with many viewers who struggle with reconciling youthful dreams with adult realities. Throughout the film, Griff's growth is evident as he learns to embrace spontaneity and uncertainty, balancing his cautious nature with the necessity of action in a perilous environment. The tension between Doug's impulsivity and Griff's prudence is central to the film's comedic and dramatic rhythm, creating moments of humor, frustration, and ultimately, deep camaraderie. Ana Almeida, played by Daniela Melchior, introduces an element of moral complexity to the narrative. Her mission, ostensibly centered on investigating illegal gold miners in the Amazon, adds layers of tension, as her goals do not always align with the filmmaker's objective of simply capturing cinematic content. Ana is portrayed as intelligent, resourceful, and fearless, embodying the traits of a character who has spent considerable time navigating dangerous, lawless environments. Her presence challenges Doug, Griff, and the rest of the crew to confront ethical dilemmas and think beyond their immediate personal goals. Over the course of the film, Anna's interactions with the group evolve from skepticism to reluctant collaboration, reflecting themes of trust, interdependence, and mutual respect. Her inclusion in the narrative elevates the stakes, as her knowledge of the jungle and survival tactics becomes essential when facing the real threat of the giant anaconda. Claire Simons, portrayed by Thandai Newton, serves as the emotional anchor for the ensemble, offering perspective, pragmatism, and guidance. Her character is grounded in a rich backstory. Claire grew up exploring natural environments with her parents, developing a strong connection to ecology and conservation, which informs her approach to the dangers of the Amazon. Claire's personal motivation extends beyond survival. She is deeply invested in ensuring that the group learns from their experiences, grows collectively, and emerges with not only their lives intact but with a deeper understanding of their capabilities and responsibilities. Her interactions with Doug and Griff often provide narrative tension, as she challenges their assumptions, critiques their improvisations, and pushes them to adapt creatively under pressure. Through Claire, the film communicates themes of leadership, empathy, and resilience, highlighting the importance of emotional intelligence in navigating both human and environmental challenges. Carlos Santiago Braga, portrayed by Selton Mello, represents specialized skill and technical knowledge within the group. As a seasoned snake handler, Carlos is initially presented as a solution to the crew's most pressing danger, the presence of a real giant anaconda. However, the narrative subverts expectations by demonstrating that even expertise has limits when confronted with unpredictable forces of nature. Carlos's arc involves reconciling his professional confidence with humility, learning that collaboration and adaptability are as critical as technical mastery. Through Carlos, the film explores themes of hubris, expertise, and the balance between knowledge and adaptability in high-stakes scenarios. His interactions with other characters, particularly when his planned strategies fail, provide both tension and humor, reinforcing the film's blend of adventure, comedy, and meta-commentary on competence and improvisation. Kenny Trent, portrayed by Steve Zahn, serves as the comedic foil and audience surrogate. His backstory includes a lifetime of near misses, odd jobs, and a general streak of misfortune that primes him to react with a mix of panic and resourcefulness when confronted with the extraordinary. Kenny's role is crucial for pacing, as his reactions highlight the absurdity of the group's circumstances while providing necessary levity amidst intense sequences. Beyond humor, Kenny's arc subtly reflects the human capacity to rise to the occasion when faced with extreme circumstances, demonstrating courage, creativity, and loyalty despite a history of self-doubt and hesitation. Ice Cube's cameo as himself adds a metatextual layer to the narrative. His presence is not merely a celebrity cameo but a deliberate connection to the legacy of the Anaconda franchise, bridging the 1997 original with the 2025 reboot. Ice Cube's involvement reflects the film's self-aware approach, blurring the line between the character's world and the audience's awareness of pop culture, nostalgia, and cinematic history. The plot of Anaconda, 2025, develops with deliberate pacing, transitioning from comedic misadventures to suspenseful encounters. Initially, the group's challenges are logistical, constructing makeshift filming equipment, navigating communication issues, and managing interpersonal disagreements. These sequences are rich in humor and tension, highlighting the characters' creativity and limitations. However, as the narrative progresses, the presence of the real giant anaconda shifts the stakes dramatically. The creature is depicted as intelligent, elusive, and formidable, creating scenarios that require improvisation, courage, and teamwork. The tension is compounded by environmental hazards, including treacherous terrain, unpredictable weather, and encounters with wildlife, which collectively heighten the sense of realism and immersion in the Amazon setting. Each sequence with the anaconda is meticulously choreographed, balancing suspenseful framing, visual effects, and character reactions to maintain a rhythm that oscillates between fear and exhilaration. The production of Anaconda was notable not only for its ambitious storytelling but also for the technical ingenuity required to bring the giant snake to life. Creating a believable predator capable of instilling fear in both characters and audiences demanded an innovative combination of practical effects, animatronics, live animal footage, and computer-generated imagery. The filmmakers relied heavily on large-scale animatronic models for close-up interactions. These models were meticulously engineered to simulate realistic movements, including coiling, striking, and constricting actions. Operators worked behind the scenes, coordinating the snake's movements to synchronize with actors' reactions, ensuring that every encounter appeared genuine and immediate. The animatronics allowed for tactile realism that CGI alone could not provide, giving the actors tangible elements to interact with, which in turn enhanced their performances and the audience's suspension of disbelief. Live snakes were also used for sequences requiring smaller, more mobile actions that the animatronic models could not replicate. Expert snake handlers were on set to ensure both the safety of the cast and the snakes, creating a controlled environment in which dangerous interactions could be convincingly simulated. CGI was reserved primarily for sequences that involved movement beyond the capability of practical models or dangerous stunts, such as the snake striking at high speed, extending across the river, or interacting with multiple objects simultaneously. The combination of these techniques resulted in a snake that appeared both massive and lifelike, maintaining suspense while avoiding the artificiality that could break immersion. Behind-the-scenes accounts highlight the physical and logistical challenges of filming in the Amazon rainforest. The cast and crew contended with high humidity, unpredictable weather, and difficult terrain. Transporting cameras, lighting equipment, and animatronic devices through the dense jungle required careful planning and considerable physical effort. Scenes involving river sequences were particularly challenging. Actors performed on moving boats in flowing currents while reacting to animatronic snakes or practical effects. Each take required precise coordination between camera operators, stunt coordinators, and special effects teams. Despite these challenges, the natural environment contributed authenticity, as the dense foliage, muddy waters, and wildlife created an immersive setting that studio sets alone could not replicate. Director Luis Losa's vision was instrumental in balancing suspense, action, and horror. Losa carefully structured the narrative to alternate between quieter character-driven moments and high-intensity encounters with the snake. By pacing the film in this way, he ensured that tension remained consistent, with suspense building gradually before each climactic attack. The decision to reveal the snake incrementally, initially through shadows, rippling water, and subtle movements, was crucial to maintaining fear. The audience's imagination was leveraged as a storytelling tool. What is unseen often proves more terrifying than what is explicitly shown. This approach not only enhanced the horror elements but also allowed for character development, as crew members' responses to these unseen threats revealed courage, ingenuity, and human vulnerability. The legacy of Anaconda extends far beyond its initial release. While it received mixed reviews from critics, its commercial success and enduring popularity cemented its status as a cult classic. Audiences appreciated the combination of adventure, horror, and suspense, as well as the memorable performances of Jon Voight, Jennifer Lopez, and Ice Cube. The film's approach to creature feature storytelling influenced subsequent productions, demonstrating the effectiveness of blending practical effects with early CGI to create realistic and terrifying monsters. Its depiction of the Amazon rainforest as a dynamic, almost antagonistic character in the story also influenced later adventure films, emphasizing the environment as a source of both beauty and peril. Following the success of Anaconda, several sequels and spin-offs expanded the universe. Anacondas, The Hunt for the Blood Orchid, 2004, explored a similar premise with a new cast and location, focusing on a quest for a rare plant in the jungles of Borneo while facing a giant anaconda. Subsequent films, including Anaconda 3, Offspring, 2008, and Anacondas, Trail of Blood, 2009, experimented with different narrative directions, often introducing scientific experiments, genetic modifications, and new environmental challenges. Although these sequels varied in quality and reception, they maintained the core elements of suspense, danger, and the struggle between human ambition and nature's unpredictability. Together, the original film and its sequels established Anaconda as a recognizable franchise in the adventure horror genre. Culturally, Anaconda has had a lasting impact. It has been referenced in television shows, parodied in comedic sketches, and cited in discussions of creature feature cinema. Its influence is particularly notable in the portrayal of giant predatory snakes in media, establishing a template for combining suspenseful pacing, realistic creature design, and human drama. The film also contributed to popular awareness of the Amazon rainforest, highlighting both its natural beauty and its dangers. While the story is fictional, it underscores real concerns about wildlife, environmental ethics, and human interactions with nature. The marketing campaign for Anaconda played a crucial role in its success. Trailers emphasized the exotic jungle setting, the suspenseful river journey, and glimpses of the massive snake without revealing the full scope of the climactic action. This approach generated anticipation, drawing audiences eager to experience the full thrills of the narrative. The marketing leveraged both the fear of the unknown and the excitement of adventure, appealing to fans of multiple genres simultaneously. Posters and promotional materials often depicted the snake in striking, menacing poses, reinforcing the film's central threat and heightening interest. The enduring appeal of Anaconda lies in its multifaceted approach to storytelling. By combining adventure, horror, suspense, and character-driven drama, the film provides a cinematic experience that engages both emotionally and viscerally. Characters are not mere archetypes, they possess depth, flaws, and growth, making their survival struggles relatable and compelling. The anaconda is not merely a monster but a symbol of nature's power, unpredictability, and the consequences of human arrogance. This dual focus on human drama and environmental tension elevates the film above typical creature features, giving it thematic resonance that persists decades after its release. In reflecting on Anaconda today, it is clear that the film occupies a unique place in 1990s cinema. It successfully merged the spectacle of a giant predator with thoughtful character arcs and a visually immersive setting. Its technical achievements, particularly in animatronics and the integration of practical effects with CGI, set a benchmark for subsequent creature feature productions. The film's influence on popular culture, from its sequels to its continued presence in media discussions and parodies, underscores its lasting significance. Audiences continue to appreciate its suspense, action, and moral undertones, making it a memorable entry in the adventure horror genre and a touchstone for filmmakers exploring similar narratives. Ultimately, Anaconda is more than just a story about a giant snake. It is a narrative about human curiosity, obsession, courage, and the delicate balance between respecting and confronting the natural world. Its combination of thrilling action, suspenseful horror, and character-driven drama creates a cinematic experience that is engaging, memorable, and thematically rich. The film's production, performances, technical achievements, and cultural impact ensure that it remains a landmark in the late 20th century adventure horror genre, celebrated both for its entertainment value and its exploration of human ambition in the face of uncontrollable natural forces. As the narrative approaches its conclusion, the fates of the minor characters serve to underscore the stakes of survival and the unforgiving nature of the Amazon jungle. Gary Dixon, who began as comic relief, ultimately sacrifices his own safety to protect Terry and the remaining crew, reinforcing the theme that courage and selflessness can emerge even in unexpected individuals. Denise Kailberg, whose resourcefulness is demonstrated throughout the expedition, falls victim to the snake's attacks, a stark reminder of the randomness and danger of the environment. Dr. Stephen Cale, initially portrayed as confident and academically knowledgeable, is humbled by the realities of physical survival, illustrating that intelligence alone is insufficient against the overwhelming forces of nature. These minor character arcs contribute to the film's emotional resonance, emphasizing that every decision carries consequences and that survival is often contingent upon both individual skill and collective cooperation. The symbolic elements of the film enrich its narrative depth. The anaconda itself is not merely a creature of horror, it functions as a metaphor for the unpredictable and uncontrollable power of nature. Its enormous size, intelligence, and patient predatory behavior serve as a reminder that humans, regardless of ambition or skill, exist within a larger ecosystem that operates according to its own rules. The Amazon jungle amplifies this symbolism, representing both the awe-inspiring beauty and the inherent danger of the natural world. Characters' interactions with the environment reflect broader philosophical ideas. Humility, respect, and cooperation are rewarded, while arrogance, selfishness, and obsession lead to destruction. Cirone's downfall exemplifies this, as his fixation on domination over nature ultimately results in his demise. In contrast, Terry and Danny's ethical decision-making, ingenuity, and teamwork allow them to survive, demonstrating the narrative's moral framework. The production of Anaconda was a complex endeavor, blending practical effects, animatronics, and challenging location work. Large animatronic models of the snake were designed to replicate lifelike movement, enabling interactions with actors that were both convincing and terrifying. Smaller animatronic sections were employed for sequences requiring flexibility, particularly for underwater or tight space attacks. Filming in water and jungle settings introduced significant technical challenges, including the need for safe but realistic river currents, lighting in dense foliage, and coordination between actors and mechanical systems. Cinematographer Bill Butler utilized wide shots to convey scale, close-ups to capture terror, and dynamic camera movement to maintain suspense. Editing by John Carter ensured that these sequences maintained rhythm, alternating between moments of high-intensity action and slower, tension-building suspense, allowing the audience to remain fully immersed. Musically, Randy Edelman's score played a crucial role in reinforcing narrative tension. By modulating tempo, instrumentation, and dynamics, the music amplified suspense during the snake attacks, highlighted moments of danger in the jungle, and provided emotional grounding during reflective scenes. The combination of auditory cues, visual effects, and narrative pacing exemplifies the meticulous planning behind the film's technical execution, ensuring that each sequence contributes both to story development and audience engagement. The success of Anaconda led to the creation of multiple sequels and spin-offs, expanding the franchise's exploration of giant snakes and dangerous jungle adventures. Films such as Anacondas, The Hunt for the Blood Orchid, 2004, and others continued the central motif of human ambition versus natural forces, introducing new characters, locations, and ethical dilemmas. While these sequels explored similar thematic territory, the original film remains the cultural touchstone of the series, establishing the core narrative, visual style, and tension between human and natural antagonists. The franchise also inspired numerous parodies and references in popular culture, cementing Anaconda's status as a recognizable and influential work within the adventure horror genre. Critical reception provides a nuanced understanding of the film's impact. Upon release, some reviewers praised the suspenseful sequences, the tension-building direction, and the performances of Jon Voight, Jennifer Lopez, and Ice Cube. Conversely, critiques were directed at certain aspects of dialogue, perceived over-the-top elements, and occasionally exaggerated creature effects. Despite these mixed reviews, audience reception was strongly positive, reflecting the film's effectiveness as an entertainment experience that balanced thrills, action, and narrative engagement. International box office performance confirmed the broad appeal of the premise, demonstrating that viewers worldwide were captivated by the combination of exotic setting, high-stakes survival, and terrifyingly intelligent predator. Over time, retrospective assessments have recognized Anaconda as a significant entry in the creature feature subgenre, highlighting its innovation in animatronics, suspense techniques, and character-driven narrative. Beyond commercial and critical measures, the film's influence can be seen in its contributions to genre conventions. It reinforced the template for adventure horror films involving intelligent predators, survival strategies, and isolated natural environments. The characterization of Terry Flores as a competent female protagonist helped challenge traditional gender roles in the genre, inspiring subsequent films to feature similarly capable and intelligent heroines. Cirone's archetype as a charismatic, morally corrupt villain influenced character design in later adventure and horror films, demonstrating the enduring impact of a well-crafted antagonist. Additionally, the combination of suspense, practical effects, and jungle cinematography established a benchmark for integrating creature-based threats with environmental storytelling. In conclusion, Anaconda, 1997, represents a landmark achievement in adventure horror filmmaking. Its intricate narrative combines physical threat, psychological tension, and moral exploration, creating a story that is both thrilling and thematically resonant. The characters' journeys, ranging from the courageous leadership of Terry Flores to the obsessive ambition of Paul Serwan, highlight universal themes of survival, ethical choice, and human adaptability. Technical accomplishments, including animatronics, practical effects, and cinematography, work in harmony with narrative design to deliver immersive suspense. The Amazon rainforest serves not only as setting but as a symbolic character, embodying the beauty, danger, and unpredictability of nature. The film's commercial success, cultural impact, and lasting influence on sequels, popular media, and the adventure horror genre underscore its significance. Anaconda remains a compelling exploration of human ambition, environmental peril, and the eternal fascination with survival in the face of overwhelming natural forces, securing its place as a classic of late 20th century creature horror cinema. As the story approaches its climax, tension reaches its peak with a series of increasingly complex and dangerous sequences. The group must navigate a narrow canyon, where sheer cliffs rise on either side and the river below churns violently. The cinematography emphasizes verticality and peril, alternating between wide establishing shots that show the daunting scale of the canyon and tight close-ups that capture the actors' expressions of fear, determination, and exhaustion. Dialogue reflects the stress of the moment, blending urgency with humor. The reckless leader attempts to inspire courage with an over-the-top motivational speech, only to be met with sarcastic remarks from the cautious member, highlighting both character contrast and audience relief from tension. These exchanges reinforce the established dynamic while maintaining narrative momentum. During this sequence, the anaconda's behavior escalates dramatically. The creature is portrayed stalking the group with patience, exploiting environmental features to its advantage. The filmmakers use shadows, ripples in the water, and sudden movements to suggest its presence before a direct attack. The first assault involves the snake slamming into the raft from beneath, sending characters tumbling into the river. The actors' reactions are choreographed to emphasize chaos and realism. Gasps, slips, and desperate grabs are timed precisely with animatronic and CGI movements of the snake. Sound design amplifies the tension, with low-frequency growls, water displacement, and snapping branches creating a visceral auditory experience. Practical effects, such as water splashes and debris, blend seamlessly with digital enhancements, maintaining immersion and heightening suspense. Following the initial attack, the group is separated briefly, allowing the film to explore individual survival instincts and character growth. The reckless leader demonstrates newfound resourcefulness, improvising solutions under pressure, while the cautious character exhibits leadership and strategic thinking, guiding others to safety. Supporting characters reveal latent skills, such as constructing improvised weapons, identifying safe footing, and understanding the snake's behavioral patterns. These sequences underscore the thematic emphasis on teamwork, resilience, and adaptability, illustrating that survival is contingent on cooperation as much as courage. Comedy continues to be integrated even during high-stakes moments. Characters' frantic attempts to coordinate while clinging to floating debris or scaling slippery rocks result in situational humor, slips, miscommunication, and exaggerated reactions elicit laughs while maintaining narrative tension. Dialogue balances exasperation with wit, providing relief from sustained suspense without diminishing the danger. The film's humor is sophisticated in its timing, often arising organically from the characters' personalities and circumstances rather than forced gags, creating a tonal balance between adventure, horror, and comedy. The final confrontation with the Anaconda is staged as a multi-layered sequence, combining environmental hazards, strategy, and physical prowess. The group lures the snake toward a narrow section of the riverbank, using improvised traps, ropes, and strategically positioned natural obstacles. Cinematography emphasizes the claustrophobic nature of the terrain, with rapid cuts between character actions, the snake's perspective, and wide shots of the surrounding cliffs and water. The snake strikes unpredictably, requiring split-second reactions from the characters. Stunt coordination ensures authenticity in falls, swings, and defensive maneuvers, while CGI enhances the snake's agility, reach, and scale. Animatronics are used for close-contact moments, providing tactile realism that heightens tension and believability. As the climax unfolds, characters' personal growth and teamwork are fully realized. Decisions are informed by lessons learned throughout the narrative. The reckless leader balances boldness with prudence, the cautious member takes decisive action, and supporting characters contribute specialized skills. Dialogue reflects a blend of urgency, camaraderie, and humor, emphasizing relational dynamics even under extreme stress. The combination of character agency and environmental challenge reinforces the film's thematic core. Survival requires courage, collaboration, and respect for forces beyond human control. Following the climactic encounter, the group emerges from the jungle transformed. The resolution allows for both reflection and humor, providing emotional closure and reinforcing character arcs. Characters discuss the lessons learned, reconcile personal conflicts, and acknowledge the strength of their friendships. The reckless leader expresses humility, the cautious member recognizes their own bravery, and supporting characters reveal pride in their contributions. Dialogue balances sincerity and levity, highlighting the enduring humor and humanity that permeate the narrative. The visual composition emphasizes transition from chaotic wilderness to calmer, open landscapes, symbolizing personal growth and renewed perspective. The film also incorporates meta-commentary, referencing the original 1997 Anaconda through subtle nods, visual Easter eggs, and cameo appearances. These moments serve multiple functions, honoring the legacy of the franchise, providing fan service, and reinforcing the narrative theme of storytelling within storytelling. For example, characters may joke about recreating classic scenes only to have real danger intervene, blending homage with comedy. These references enrich the viewing experience for longtime fans while remaining accessible to new audiences, creating a layered narrative that functions on multiple levels. From a production standpoint, the filmmakers employed a sophisticated integration of practical and digital effects. Animatronics allowed for precise control of the snake's interactions with actors and props, particularly during sequences involving close contact or tactile physicality. CGI enhanced movement, scale, and dynamic interactions that would have been impossible with practical effects alone, such as rapid lunges, water splashes, and climbing sequences. Stunt work was carefully coordinated to maximize realism while ensuring actor safety, with choreographed falls, rope maneuvers, and improvised defensive actions timed precisely with snake effects. Sound design, including hissing, water displacement, and environmental cues, further augmented tension and believability. Lighting, camera movement, and editing all contributed to an immersive jungle environment, blending suspense, humor, and action into a cohesive cinematic experience. Thematically, the film emphasizes human resilience, adaptability, and the importance of relational bonds under stress. Each character's evolution reflects lessons about humility, courage, teamwork, and self-awareness. The Anaconda functions as both literal threat and symbolic force, representing natural unpredictability, fear, and the consequences of human hubris. The jungle itself serves as a crucible, testing characters' intellect, endurance, and emotional fortitude. Comedy, dialogue, and meta-commentary are interwoven to provide emotional relief and reinforce thematic resonance, ensuring the narrative is entertaining, reflective, and emotionally impactful. Marketing strategies emphasize the film's blend of comedy, adventure, and suspense. Trailers highlighted thrilling snake sequences, star chemistry, and meta-story elements, appealing to both fans of the original film and new viewers. Interviews with cast and crew emphasized production challenges, on-location shoots, and the balance of humor with high-stakes action. Release timing targeted holiday audiences, maximizing potential reach across demographics. Early reviews praised the performances, immersive environment, and inventive blending of genres, noting that the film successfully entertained while delivering deeper thematic content. Audience responses highlighted the humor, suspense, and character development as key strengths, ensuring positive reception across diverse viewers. In conclusion, the 2025 Anaconda represents a sophisticated evolution of the creature feature genre. Its success lies in the seamless integration of suspense, comedy, adventure, and emotional depth. Through meticulous production design, innovative effects, compelling cinematography, immersive sound design, and thoughtful character development, the film delivers both entertainment and meaningful reflection. Characters are transformed by their experiences, the environment is portrayed as a living, dynamic force, and the Anaconda remains a credible and terrifying presence throughout. The narrative emphasizes themes of courage, friendship, adaptability, and respect for nature, providing an engaging, multi-layered experience for audiences. By blending homage with originality, humor with danger, and spectacle with emotional resonance, Anaconda achieves a fully realized cinematic experience that appeals to fans of both classic and contemporary adventure storytelling. Beyond the climactic confrontation and narrative resolution, Anaconda, 2025, continues to offer a rich tapestry of visual storytelling, comedic interplay, and thematic resonance that deserves close attention. One of the hallmarks of the film is its meticulous attention to the interplay between character development and environmental challenges. For instance, numerous sequences depict the friends navigating dense foliage, muddy rivers, and steep ravines, with each terrain obstacle serving not just as a plot device but as a mechanism to reveal individual traits and relationships. The filmmakers employ dynamic camera work to accentuate the treacherous jungle environment. Low-angle shots highlight the towering trees and suffocating canopy, while overhead drone shots convey both scale and vulnerability, allowing audiences to grasp the enormity of the wilderness surrounding the characters. These techniques heighten suspense while simultaneously reinforcing the sense of adventure and discovery, keeping viewers engaged and emotionally invested in the group's survival journey. The visual effects of the Anaconda are central to the film's impact, and the production team invested considerable effort to blend practical effects with CGI to achieve realism and fluidity. Life-sized snake animatronics were employed in close-up sequences, allowing actors to interact directly with the creature, thereby enhancing performance authenticity. For wider shots and action sequences requiring dynamic movement, CGI was carefully composited, with motion studies conducted on real snakes to ensure accurate scale, muscle movement, and behavioral believability. Lighting, shadows, and textural details were finely tuned to ensure that the Anaconda integrated seamlessly into the natural jungle environment. This dual approach to visual effects allows the creature to appear both physically imposing and convincingly alive, generating both suspense and awe. The result is a creature that functions not only as a literal threat but also as a narrative device, symbolizing the unpredictable power of nature and the limits of human control. Comedy is interwoven thoughtfully throughout the film, complementing the tension rather than undermining it. Jack Black's Doug is the primary source of physical comedy, often exaggerating fear responses or improvising chaotic solutions to immediate threats. Yet, the humor extends beyond slapstick. Clever dialogue, situational irony, and meta-commentary on filmmaking conventions infuse the narrative with wit. For example, scenes where Griff attempts to direct a perilous stunt while the crew is literally being chased by the Anaconda offer layered humor. On one level, the danger is real and terrifying; on another, the absurdity of prioritizing cinematic perfection over safety creates a comedic juxtaposition. This balance ensures that humor is integrated naturally, complementing suspense and action while maintaining narrative cohesion. Secondary comedic elements arise from character quirks, interpersonal conflicts, and environmental mishaps, creating a multi-layered humor that appeals to a broad audience. Character development reaches its fullest expression in sequences that test each individual's adaptability, courage, and ethical perspective. Griff's journey from obsessive filmmaker to pragmatic, empathetic leader is central to the narrative arc. Initially consumed with capturing perfect footage, he gradually learns to prioritize teamwork, survival, and respect for the natural environment. Doug evolves from comic relief into a surprisingly capable participant, blending humor with ingenuity, demonstrating that courage can manifest even through laughter. Kenny's development emphasizes strategic thinking and initiative, while Claire provides moral and emotional grounding, highlighting empathy, critical thinking, and leadership under pressure. Anna and Santiago's contributions underscore the importance of expertise, ethical responsibility, and ecological awareness, complementing the growth of the primary group. Through these arcs, the film explores themes of collaboration, adaptability, and personal transformation, reinforcing that human resilience is as much psychological and ethical as it is physical. Scene analysis reveals how the film skillfully blends suspense, humor, and narrative pacing. One notable sequence involves the group navigating a series of cascading waterfalls while attempting to recover lost equipment. The filmmakers intercut fast-paced shots of tumbling water, frantic character reactions, and the Anaconda's emerging threat, creating a rhythm that oscillates between suspenseful tension and comedic absurdity. The sequence demonstrates the film's mastery of timing. Pauses in the chaos allow for humor, brief exchanges between characters highlight personality differences and relational growth, and sudden bursts of action maintain adrenaline and engagement. Similarly, sequences depicting the jungle at night use lighting, shadows, and soundscapes to evoke both fear and anticipation, often punctuated by comedic interruptions, such as Doug tripping over vines or attempting to document minor wildlife incidents while a far more significant threat looms. These scene-specific choices reinforce the film's tonal balance and highlight the filmmaker's deliberate pacing strategy. The meta-narrative elements of Anaconda, 2025, are another defining feature. By focusing on a group attempting to remake a beloved 1997 film while encountering a real-life giant snake, the story comments on the creative process, human ambition, and the unpredictability inherent in filmmaking. Griff's obsessive pursuit of cinematic perfection mirrors the challenges faced by directors in real life, emphasizing themes of control, risk, and improvisation. The juxtaposition of staged versus real danger creates narrative tension and humor, as characters navigate simultaneous fictional and actual threats. This self-aware approach resonates with modern audiences familiar with both traditional adventure horror tropes and contemporary media-savvy humor, adding layers of engagement that reward both casual viewers and franchise fans. Cameos, references to the original film, and visual nods reinforce the meta-narrative while enriching the viewing experience with intertextual connections. The film's exploration of environmental themes is subtle but impactful. Anna's advocacy against illegal mining and her deep understanding of the Amazonian ecosystem highlight the consequences of human exploitation. Through her interactions with the friends and local communities, the narrative demonstrates that human ambition must be tempered with ecological responsibility. The giant anaconda functions as a symbol of nature's resilience, power, and unpredictability, reinforcing the ethical undertone. By integrating these elements within an adventure comedy framework, the film communicates an environmental message without sacrificing entertainment value. Audience members are encouraged to consider the broader implications of human activity on delicate ecosystems, while still enjoying thrilling and humorous sequences. From a franchise perspective, Anaconda, 2025, reinvigorates a long-standing property. The film acknowledges the legacy of the 1997 original through visual homages, character cameos, and narrative references, yet it modernizes the concept for contemporary audiences. The shift from purely horror-oriented storytelling to a hybrid adventure comedy approach expands the franchise's reach, appealing to a wider demographic that includes both nostalgic fans and new viewers. Additionally, the film's meta-commentary on filmmaking offers a fresh lens, distinguishing it from previous entries and providing narrative sophistication that elevates the story beyond simple creature feature tropes. By embracing innovation while respecting the franchise's roots, the film establishes a blueprint for future installments that balance homage, humor, suspense, and thematic depth.